What do you say to people who might be thinking about joining MyBudget? What would you say?
I don't know where this came from, but I tell them it's like going to a gym. You can go to a gym, work out every day, 7 days a week, and you may see some results. But then when you sign up for a personal trainer, you start seeing results because you're being motivated and it's a real motivation. It's like you've got someone else in your corner, backing you 100%.
Welcome to My Money, My Story, where we chat to some amazing people about their money story and hear just how much money can really impact your life. And I'm your host, Tammy Barton, founder and director of MyBudget.
We begin today by acknowledging the Kaurna people, traditional custodians of the land on which we are recording our podcast today. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and we would like to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples.
So, welcome Kylie and Scott. Thanks so much for being here and agreeing to join us on this podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you. Although I've known you for a very long time, in the context that you have been a client now for 18 years.
Yep.
And you've also been an amazing staff member for the last 4 years at MyBudget as well. And so I do know a little bit about your story, but I really want to spend the time and unpack it today because it is inspirational and you guys have achieved so much and also gone through a lot. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate because life isn't easy and there's a lot of challenges and we learn from those and we grow from those. Yeah. But you guys are a really good example of, you know, getting through and getting to the other side and you should feel very proud of yourselves.
Yeah, thanks, Tammy. That means a lot.
Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. So let's start from the beginning and you can start wherever you like. It's an open canvas. You can go as early as you want, how you used to spend your pocket money and just your relationship to money and your money journey. That's what we're really uncovering today.
I grew up in a family that had a terrible relationship with money. Both my mum and dad were pensioners. And so it was just week to week or fortnight to fortnight. And 9 times out of 10, the first thing that went in the shopping basket was this carton of cigarettes. Forget about the food. And so I've kind of grown up with that and just, you know, I tried to make ends meet everywhere I could, worked hard, did everything right as far as trying to earn money. But never earned enough. Really.
And you decided I didn't want to be unconsciously decided I don't want to be like that.
Didn't want to be like that and I didn't want to follow in mum and dad's footsteps. And at the time that we signed up with MyBudget, I was working a permanent afternoon shift plus 4 or 5 nights overtime a week. And I would literally wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, how the hell am I going to pay this?
Yeah, what a stressful time.
And it was almost like I was turning every dollar I earned into a dollar note and throwing it up in the air and turning the fan on and seeing who caught it.
Yeah, well, that must have been so stressful, working so hard and then feeling that way.
Yeah.
So, and what about yourself, Kylie?
We take great pride, I think, knowing that our diversity, relationships of money and how we've been brought up. I was brought up in a beautiful 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in the 80s, you know, stone throw from the beach, had a beautiful swimming pool. I was only just speaking to my daughter the other day how I remembered I was in hospital, had my appendix out, and I called my dad and he goes, so Dorts, what do you want from Daddy? And I said, I want some flowers and I want a Barbie, you know, pretty and pink Barbie. I remember it clear today and I still got it and I'd get it, you know. I want this and I want that and yeah, sure, off you got it. I did everything, you know, whatever I want, I got. So I just learned, I had a tree I used to pluck. Yeah. So you have someone who plucks a tree daily to someone who goes, I don't know how to deal with money. So when we got together, he's earning the money and I'm going, let's spend it, you know. So it was really challenging for both of us.
Two totally different backgrounds and experiences coming together. And did that have any kind of impact on your relationship?
Not at the time.
Yeah,
We're still
I don't
together.
know. Yeah.
Too long
I
ago.
tended to, and to a degree, I am still that way inclined. I go and earn the money.
Yep.
Budget takes care of it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's in the budget. I don't
Yeah.
look at it. Kylie goes crook at me because I don't. And it's just like, you know what? I'm not waking up stressed.
Yep. Yep. You've got that peace of
Yeah.
mind.
I'm not
Everything's
waking up
been
stressed.
taken
I know
care of.
everything's taken care of. I have no needs for, I mean, gee, if I've got $20 in my wallet, then I feel
Yeah.
like a rich man, but
Then you're happy. How were you feeling at that time in your life when you decided, I have to change my financial situation or just make a difference? So what was that like, and what was that
it
journey?
was, for me, it was just a no-brainer at the time. It was just like, I can't handle the money. Someone has to be able to. And so Kylie was just like, oh, no, and I just went, no, we've got to go and check it out. And signed up.
Straight away,
on the spot. Yeah.
Yep.
Signed up.
And what was that process
was
like
it.
when you joined MyBudget?
We had
It
savings.
was quite an easy process.
that was the excitement thing for me.
I couldn't, my brain just couldn't, even though I knew I'd signed up to something, I couldn't compute how I was paying X amount of dollars for someone else to pay my to pay my bills when I couldn't afford to, go out for a coffee every week, once a week.
But
And
it's
it
just the way
didn't
your
make-
money is managed, right?
Yeah,
So how many,
yeah.
Kylie, you know this, how many clients say, I can't believe I'm going to have money in savings. I can't
Yeah.
believe you've got this to work.
Too many
every
day.
every day, every
yeah.
client.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not alone in
No.
feeling that way
No.
and then going, I don't understand how you did it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
magic, but it's not. It's about
Yeah.
looking ahead into the future and being able to see where
That's
you're going to be.
Yeah.
And then the discipline to stick to that
That's
budget,
it. That's
Yeah.
it.
which is what you guys have done, which is incredible.
I know, right?
And Kylie, what about yourself when you were in that appointment? And I know you were a little, you said before you're a little hesitant.
It wasn't really little. I was really like, look, I can do this. We can do this. We can, we're doing okay. It's okay. Well, I get a job, it'd be different and things like that. But I know that looking back at it, no, it was because I needed someone to help me change my way, my thought pattern, my relationship with money, because I would spend it. So it was, having that initial chat with Leah was like, I was excited that we could get savings. But
Leah was the personal budgeting specialist that you saw at the time.
Yeah. So
Just so that people listening,
beautiful. Yeah.
know.
So we came into the office and I was, like I was saying to you before, it was like Leah is the instigator for me to give up smoking.
How great.
Yeah, because I couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford our biggest thing was our DVDs, and our weekly packs for $28 a week, entertainment.
Yeah.
That wasn't much money back. That was a lot of money going back then, spending on entertainment, $30 a week, I couldn't even afford that.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, and that's when I started finding new ways, because I couldn't afford my DVDs, find new ways how to get my DVDs. And
So you like DVDs better than smoking?
Yeah, entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Entertainment was more important to me.
Yeah.
I like
Because it affected both of us.
So I discovered I can go to the library and get my DVDs for free
Oh, how good.
at the time. Like it was like, how crazy is that? We all spend money. Okay, they weren't latest movies, but they were still good movies to watch.
But I want to commend you, though, on giving up smoking, because
Thank you.
I recall when I used to see clients myself, every single client that smoked, I was like, oh, if you didn't smoke, look how much money you would save. And here's our quit brochures that we used to keep in the office. But the amount of successful clients that were managed to be able to quit, the percentage was actually quite low, because it is very difficult. And me being a non-smoker didn't realise how difficult it was. And I would speak to that client again. I go, what do you mean you're smoking? You were like, I'm quitting. They threw their cigarettes in the bin. And, But it is so well done, because that is a real difficult thing to do. But it really does make a significant difference in your budget, as you know.
Yeah, well, was it the other week I was in there and someone bought a packet of cigarettes, $80. And it's like, That's my fuel for a fortnight.
Yeah.
That's going to last you how long?
Exactly.
And I was just like, that made me cry deeply inside for this person. I just wanted to hug them.
Yeah.
I really did. It's just like, guys, you know, yeah. Anyway, that's another topic.
So you guys joined up with MyBudget, but I know you had some challenges along the way, some health challenges, and there's always obstacles in people's lives.
Yeah.
But you guys, you know, specifically had quite a few challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are home and away and neighbours
Yeah.
in life.
So let's talk about that, because we really want to hear authentic, genuine stories, because people relate. They really do.
Well, there was a period after we signed up, or shortly before, Kylie ended up, she spent 8 times in hospital for a week to a fortnight at a time. And so she literally wasn't able to go and get a job. She wouldn't have been able to perform at work at all. I ended up taking on a second job. So I would be working from 7 a.m. to 11:40 at night.
Wow.
With like a half hour to an hour break in between.
And how long did you do that for?
The first time I did for about 10 months.
Yeah.
Put myself in hospital on the first week of this, you know, starting the second job with dehydration, and spent a day on a drip. And then moving forward, we had Abby was born, our daughter. She ended up spending the better part of 10 months of her first year in hospital after having a couple of major surgeries. And
that was us having to live in. So Scott took parental leave and long service leave, and then I was in hospital from 30 weeks from Abby, so he had to take on a second job. Another second job because I wasn't out of work. As soon as I was pregnant, I wasn't out of work. So, and then during the pregnancy journey, we were told who to choose to save. And it was a no-brainer. It was going to be me because we found out that Abby wasn't supposed to survive. And so I was in hospital for 30 weeks. He's doing the thing, and Abby came along, and we had her successfully, and she had to go to Melbourne for her first open heart surgery. Now, at that time, we were planning on, we did the motion of every parent of organising the nursery and all of that stuff because there was a personal journey behind that we had lost 9 babies before Abby.
Oh, wow.
And then we just needed to have closure, have that feeling of going to bring a baby home. We wanted to do all of this, part of the grieving process as well. But we never told anyone. Only very, very few people knew that our baby was going to die at birth. 2 days before she was born, we were told that, great news, your baby's not, it's got a different congenital heart defect. Yeah, sometimes she'll need open heart surgery. So we had her, 2 days beforehand, we found out what was wrong with her, then had a cesarean. And we're getting ready to talk about bringing her home. She was a pram, but she's thriving. And we were so excited that our baby girl's coming home.
Especially after 9 miscarriages.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm very open about that, but it's a journey we also kept from MyBudget as well, because it's just, but it's really nice knowing that our teams today, and even going back then with Abby's journey, when we started talking about it, the support we got. So here we are, we went to Melbourne. She's 18 days old, having her first open heart, but in gestational weeks, it was only 37 weeks. And the surgery she had was the easiest way to say it, was a bypass, and too much blood was not enough blood going around the body, and it was just gathering around her heart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she ended up with a bleed on the brain, 2 blood clots in the carotid and aortic artery. And we were doctors were coming in, and they were looking at her, and during the day of the surgery, after 12 hours, and I'm thinking, they were looking how cute she is. She's pretty beautiful, isn't she? I was so excited. Everyone's seeing how beautiful she is. And next thing you know, it was like, The surgeon walks in, washing his hands nicely, and he goes, off you go. We'll call you and we'll see you in the morning. Your daughter's in heart failure. We're going to open her up right now. We'll see you in the morning. So we were in
Wow.
Melbourne. So we flew to Melbourne, by the way, at this stage. We
Oh
flew
my
to
God.
Melbourne. Yeah, she went through MedStar, flying doctors, and we went through Virgin. Commercial, and all of this is happening.
So you've been separated to fly there.
Yeah.
God.
I could have gone with her,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I didn't because I found out afterwards she went on cardiac arrest in the plane. So
Oh my God.
I just glad I wasn't there for that one. They would have having to deal with a crazy parent, and we always said we said we'll go on our own because at that stage we didn't even know she was sick. Well, we knew that was all
Because
very,
it was a luggage thing as well.
yeah.
Going.
So we got there and things weren't great, and then we went back to Ronald McDonald House and we came. They called. We went back early hours in the morning back to the to ICU, and she wasn't well. She was really, really sick, and at this stage we've just found out also her bowel has died.
Oh.
So 90% of her large intestine was removed as well, and then we were told, be prepared. I sent an email to the staff and I went, hey guys, don't contact me. You got no money coming in. My daughters, may not make it. We've got no money. I just deal with it. It's basically, I don't care. Don't contact us. I'll contact you. And just been a long day. I got back to Ronald McDonald House to have another shower and have something to eat. And the phone rings. And I was like, hi, it's such from my budget. And I went, don't you read emails? I was really angry and rude. And that's when they said, hey, we've got going to help you as like the client assistant fund, and supported us and went through how they're going to support us and how they did it. And we just because at this stage we're going to leave my budget after we had Abby because we got our shit together. And and because of Abby, we just went, we really need my budget. You guys just changed saved our bacon once again. You organised with all the creditors, done all of that for us. Like we had no worries about anything. Even to our landlords. Our landlords knew us personally. They, we got to know them quite well. They were great. I think we're paying $50 a week rent for 12 months. And then when we could afford it, we were paying...
Just caught up.
Caught up. We were really blessed. We had
great.
Landlords who could afford to do that and support us. And it was just amazing. And then we finally got home after 3 months. You went back to work, and at that stage the parenting payment finally kicked in, family tax benefit finally kicked in, and all of these things. And then a few months later we're back in Melbourne again. For the same, supposed to have been a 14-day turnaround, but my daughter likes
Abby
to
likes
go.
holidays.
Yeah. So we ended up in Melbourne for another 3 months, shy of 3 months.
Wow.
So in these times...
And then you can't obviously work during that time.
No.
So that has a big impact on your finances as well.
Yeah.
So because there's if you're not on benefits or, government assistance, you've got no money. Too bad, so sad. That's it. And the government, we tried every avenue, and basically the woman said, the social worker through Centrelink was basically said, go back to Melbourne, we go back to LA to work, and leave your baby here. That's what it was like.
That was the option.
That was the option. And it was like, but saying that too, we were really, really blessed. Like we had friends who supported us. We had so many... We've discovered there was so much other support. We didn't have to rely on each other and money. We've quickly learned, and just chatting with different people, that there's so many community support out there. One day I rocked up at home, couldn't even afford my daughter's nappies. There's a box of nappies on the doorstep. It just, the community became a village. Yeah.
And it makes a really big difference. It
does.
really, really does.
And and it is. And I remember one of the team members said to me to contact a place in... I remember we ended up driving there. It was near Noarlunga Hospital, that's community place. Someone told us to go there near the dental place. Remember, it was across the road near Shell. We went there one day and they gave us Coles vouchers to go and buy food.
Wow.
So people just gave us, and that's how we lived. But that was our turning point too, to realise we're lucky. We are living like kings in our hearts. And that's all that mattered.
and you're very grateful.
Yeah.
And we talked about this on a different podcast where you realise that that's enough. Like you don't have to keep wanting for more or, being in a different circumstance.
No.
You just be okay with where you are and the circumstances that you're in. Just let it go and accept it and be grateful for what you do have. And it's liberating.
And, of course, at the same time, it didn't matter how much or how little I was earning or how little money was coming into the house.
We never went without.
My budget sorted everything out.
Yeah.
Handled everything. Still didn't have to worry about it.
We could still answer that phone.
Yeah.
We did not need to deal with, oh gosh.
Yeah.
None of that happened.
Because it got to the point with me where I would just, if I received a phone call from a creditor, it would literally be, Kylie, you deal with it. Because I'm about to lose. I'm about to lose it.
And fair enough. Like you work at times, you're working 2 jobs. You have, you've had health issues, and then your daughter's struggling with health issues, and it's a lot. It really is.
Yeah.
But no, we all live. I've said this to many clients, because I just quite often I want to jump through the phone when the clients are really struggling and just put my arm around them. And I will say to them, I'm sending you a massive big hug right now because I know what I've got an understanding what you're going through. And we've got to remember there's always a valley in life. And the same with our finances. There's a valley. And it's when you hit the pits, you can't see anything, but need to know there's stepping stones along the way we can just take. And even if it takes 10 months, it takes 10 months. Sometimes it can take shorter weeks. It can take weeks. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just, just let's look at today and let's take that next step tomorrow. Yeah. And I just encourage everyone that in every area of their life, not just their finances.
Yeah. It's taking that first step.
Acknowledgement.
And when it comes to finances, that budget is the most important tool.
Yeah.
Because it's going to show you where you can go, how you can get there. It's going to help you make good decisions.
Yeah.
And it's not just having the budget. It's more important. It's sticking to that budget and letting, say, us do the hard work. And I know you're passionate about everybody having a budget.
I actually sat there this beginning of the year outside in our courtyard and having breakfast one morning. And I was just like getting ready for work, as you do. And I went, oh my gosh, how do people do this? I don't know any other way.
Yeah. That's what everybody says, though, that's been using the MyBudget system.
And I nearly had a panic attack.
What would I do? How would I get on with my life? Because you do it all for me. Leah, who saw you in your appointment, she obviously still works for us now. And she says, I don't know what I would do. No. I could never leave using the MyBudget service. Yeah. Because it just, I wouldn't, it helps me run my life.
I've had people ask me, how long are you going to stay with MyBudget? I won't be leaving, I'm in a hurry.
Yeah. And I think the transition as well from being a client to now being a staff member, Kylie, you probably see things through a different light perhaps. And you would have learnt some stuff along the way.
I've become more aware of life and the finances of life.
Yeah.
I think I tell my clients, I go, I want to save. Yeah, I can see you want to save, but you put all your money into the saving. But I look at all the transfers. Look at all your transfers. No, I don't.
They're unbudgeted transfers, by the way, to those who are listening.
I say to them, look, your savings is not going to work if you don't have every cent, but it's only $20. Yeah, it's $20. I've got in my budget as well. I use, for instance, everything. I have even our family quirks. Christmas Eve, we like to go out to the country pubs, went to Strath last year and have dinner at Christmas Eve and drove through the hills and looked at all the lights.
Nice.
And singing the Christmas carols, come home and go to bed for Santa. That's our tradition. And New Year's Day, we like to go to the movies every New Year's Day because in WA, our first Christmas was 52 degrees in the shade. New Year's Day was just as hot. And going back 20 odd years ago, nearly 30 years ago, air conditioning was only at the cinemas.
Yeah.
So that's when
Or when you got in your car, if you're lucky enough to have it in your car.
No, there's still one down the windows going, Tammy. I don't think we've ever had electric windows, did we?
180 air conditioning.
Yeah.
So, those important little things, even down to school photos, it's going to come. Have it in the budget for March. When the kids go back to school, check out the school calendar, work out when you need money, give us a call.
Yep.
I need this amount this time. I know then when it comes to around that time, I've allocated that money.
Yep.
My biggest thing with having a child is birthday parties. I'm a mum. I'm not calling the next one a party. It's called a sleepover, so I don't overspend. So power of the tongue as well. You got to change the words.
I just can't believe how expensive birthday parties are now.
Yeah.
A sleepover is a good idea.
I'm doing
and it
it.
will still be expensive, I'm sure.
No. Oh, Tammy. So far, we looked at the TPs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to pay that money. I've looked at how much it's going to cost me to get air beds and sheets. Okay, we've got a blow-up pool. That's our pool. We've got our own pizza, wood oven pizza. We're making pizzas and movies and pool.
So
My daughter's made her pillowcases. We're all making their own matching pillowcases, teaching her how to sew. I do this thing called Spike on Origin. So they give you bonuses if you save your electricity. They give a challenge. Mm-hmm. And I've actually got now I've got $25 now to draw back on as a gift card for Kmart. So there's my accessories already paid for from Kmart. Amazing. So all we're paying now is using it's costing me now is the party food and pizzas.
And the pizzas if you make them yourself.
Yeah, and we make them ourselves. And I'm going to get under it for $100.
That's pretty good. We should write a blog about this. Because I had a birthday party for my 9-year-old. I haven't had a proper birthday party where you go somewhere with her. They've kind of been at home. I just couldn't believe how much. I think she goes to all these birthday parties and all these parents are paying so much money and it made me feel sick with the expense of it. And it really needs to go into your budget.
It does. So I tell clients, even you might try and say, okay, I'm going to need a deposit for the cake, a deposit for whatever this time, in, 3 or 4 months before the party. Let's have that X amount of money in there. And I don't want you to say party. I want you to write it down, cake, venue, everything what it is for, so you can clearly see it in the budget what's it for. I get frustrated when it's just savings. No. Savings means savings. I'm saving for my Ferrari. I'm saving for, I don't know, a holiday. You know what I mean? It could be whatever your savings
So
may
your
be.
tip is be very specific with the goals when you're putting them
because you know what it's for.
Yep, that's good. I like that.
That's my biggest recommendation.
Because we see that clients that do have a more detailed budget and have everything in that budget end up being more successful and more likely to achieve those things. So that's good.
I spoke to a client the other day, ended up being an hour and a half call. Sorry. But she'd been a client for 13 years.
Yeah.
And I had this discussion. I said, where's all your children? You've got 6 kids. Why aren't they in here?
Yeah.
You just told me you got a 21st. You're paying for that? Yeah. How much do you want? Oh, yeah, well, X amount of money for. She says, we're going to wait till see where we get there, but we never have any money to do anything. And I said, you don't even have Christmas in. She goes, I know. I said, fine. So anyway. No Christmas. I know, right?
We do those Christmas drives every year to make sure all the clients have
everything in there. You have your
Christmas in July even.
Exactly. You have everything in there. And by the time this conversation was really great, she had all of Christmas. She had Christmas groceries. We even chucked in New Year's Eve, $200 for her and for hubby to go out New Year's Eve. And we chucked in her wedding anniversary as well next year. And it was just wonderful. You said this, if you want these things to happen, you got to tell us. We're not mind readers.
Yeah.
You need to tell us. These conversations we have, it's not, we love talking to our clients. It's not like we're trying to find out what's happening in their life. We're wanting to know what
we want your life to work out the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not going to
that's
happen.
what we're here for. Isn't it so funny, Kylie, listening to you talk? I was just reflecting on what you said earlier. When you were growing up, it was kind of like, these ones. And for anyone listening that can't see this video, I'm kind of doing that money, you know, what they do in those rap videos.
Yeah.
And you've gone from, you know, having that mentality and relationship to money where it was just kind of didn't think about it and you just, you know, didn't give it much thought, to now giving it so much thought and being so much more in control. And then add to that the fact that now you're helping tens of thousands of clients around Australia as they call in or send messages in to speak to you or to speak to us, but to speak to My Budget. And now you're having that kind of impact. I mean, that's a pretty big transition from where you once were to where you are today.
Everything today, when we talk to any of our friends, you know, and they go, oh, you know, I can't do this. I go, there's always ways you can save money. Simple things.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've all felt our first electricity bill, felt it hard. I just want to say, hello, ours reduced by 43% as to last winter, baby. My family froze. No, they didn't. They did not freeze. They did not freeze. So what we did was, knowing that, I mean, the government did tell us, hey, guys, we're going to jack up the electricity. Be prepared. So I got prepared. So I went out. Last year, my family bought me the Nana blanket to keep me electric throw rug. We went and got the family one. And we just turn the heater on, get the chill out the air, sat under our nice little warm blankies. You know, we sit there with our socks on now, and we're going to have our dressing gown on with electric blankies. We're nice and warm.
That's so good.
You know.
Saving money.
Yeah. And then, you know, then we started with Spike, you know, giving her these challenges every night. Let's turn the power off for an hour. Just have this, you know, because that's 54 cents a kilowatt I'm paying. So 54 cents an hour. I mean, you know, kilowatts. If we can save 2 kilowatts an hour, so that's $1. That's $90 a quarter. That's our registration paid, babe.
Yeah, so good. I love that you do that and you live it. And you breathe it. And, you know, and like I said, the transition from where you once were, Dad, can you get me a Barbie and some flowers, to now doing the Spike Challenge, which I'm sure Origin will be happy that we're speaking on the podcast for them. You might get more people. They might get more people signing up.
Hey, Origin, just, you know, just give me a bonus here, sweetie.
They might want to sponsor this episode.
Maybe.
And we're going to make sure you're a regular contributor to our newsletter when we...
Oh, you can ask everything. Yeah. I'll have a tip each day for you, I tell you.
That's so good. Kylie's tips, that's what we'll call them. Now, I know that you said that you wanted to send Abby to a private school. How has having a budget helping you to achieve that?
It's very, very new in our stages, isn't it? I said, well, I'll give them a call, and they said, look, put an application in today. I went, okay, because we're going through it. And I went, okay. And we know we can't afford it. At this stage, looking at our budget, we can't afford it. And the reality is, like, you know, there's going to be massive shift changes in our lives and finances and jobs. No, I'm not leaving.
She's staying right where she is.
But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of that happening in the budget to make sure we can afford, you know, whatever, you know, we worked it out be about $200 a week to pay.
Yeah.
You know, to pay it off. But I've having discussions with people and all that. They said, the website they use is a platform of giving you an idea of what expectations of the fees amounts. And I always go to every client who's got their kids in private schooling, have that discussion with the finance team. You know, they understand cost of living at the moment is unreachable for everyone, let alone choosing your child to go to a private school suddenly in a week isn't going to happen.
What do you say to people who might be thinking about joining My Budget? What would you say?
I don't know. I don't know where this came from, but I tell them it's like going to a gym. You can go to a gym, work out every day, 7 days a week, and you may see some results. But then when you sign up for a personal trainer, you start seeing results because you're being pushed and motivated, and it's a real motivation. It's like you've got someone else in your corner, backing you 100%.
That's fantastic. So, it's like having a personal coach.
Yeah.
Money coach.
Yes. Yes.
A money coach.
Money
There you go.
coach. There you go.
Yeah, and we all know everyone does better in life
Yeah.
when you have a coach. Like a basketball team's not going to do as well if they don't have a
No.
coach.
No.
You're not going to do as well professionally if you don't have a mentor
Yeah.
or a coach. Like
Yeah.
a coach makes a big difference, and that's really, I think, what you're saying.
And I used to tell people I could write a budget until I was blue in the face.
Yeah.
But to make that budget work,
The question is, how does it work? And that's
I
the
couldn't
$1 million
quite work that
question
out.
every client asks.
Oh, how does my budget?
How does it work? When you try to
Yeah,
explain
isn't
to
that
them the 90-day view against the 12-month view, and they go, huh? So my thing is like,
What do you say?
yeah. So especially when I'm talking to people in my generation,
Mm-hmm.
and I even to the younger generation, I said, have you ever heard of jar systems and envelope systems when the older people used to use? Who used to put all their money in there? They go yes or no. Or my generation is like, remember how we used to put our money in the jar for different things? I said, that's how my budget is.
Or money boxes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all electronic.
Yeah.
It's an electronic version for you. So you don't have to open up the box, take the money out. It's already there electronically. They go, oh,
So the penny drops
the
then.
penny drops then. It's an
Yeah.
electronic version of the envelope or the jar or the bread tin or whatever way it was. You'd had your rent, utility, your phone bill, your electricity bill, and all of that stuff sitting up there. And you used to put your money in there. I remember my nonna used to do that.
yeah.
And it's all automated.
Yeah, it's all, you
Yeah.
don't need to worry about it then.
Yeah. And I think that's the question I get a lot of. So what is it that you guys actually do? We know, we see your ads. We know that you change people's lives and they go from being in one situation to being, much better situation. But what is it that you do in between? I think that's the missing link. So Kylie, why did you want to work? You'd been a client, but what made you want to come and join My Budget and work at My Budget?
Yeah. So being a client for so long, when I used to ring up, I loved every team member I spoke to. No one ever felt, I never felt judged is the word. I think that's the main thing. Never felt judged. I never felt that I need to hide anything about my finances. I was able to tell people exactly what was going on in my life. And there was never judgment. There was always love and acceptance, encouragement. There was nothing like, you're doing that wrong, you shouldn't be doing that. That was for PBS when they cut up their cigarettes. No.
And your credit card.
And the credit card. But no, and it was never like that. It was like, oh, wow, I'm sorry that you're feeling this way, but let's see what we can do today to help you. And it was like, what the? And then it was like, wow, this company must be so awesome. Everyone's like this. And then when I walked in the door, everyone just loved you. I remember you walking in when we were sitting there in training. There's 14 of us in this little cramped room. And you walked in, it was stifling hot in there. And it's just like, you welcomed each one of us. And it's like, wow. And just knowing that it's a reflection of you. So thank you that every one of team members is a reflection of you and the face of My Budget, but with the voices, and it's just the empathy and the love and the encouragement. Everyone can see. We don't look at the negatives. We always look at the positives, and we find that positives and we run with it. And I think and I wanted to be here. I wanted to do the same to people's lives, what it's done to my life, not just financially, but in personal growth in other areas of my life. And it's so true. It's like what you breathe and what you believe in is what you become. Mm-hmm. And that's what I am. I've because of My Budget, I think I've become a better person in my own self, not just financially, but in my own person. It has changed us tremendously, hasn't it? Yeah. Even our outlook towards other people. Once upon a time we used to judge people, but now it's like, well, how can we help you?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you for those kind words. And obviously in your stifling room with no air conditioning is how you learnt to be a good budgeter with your electricity.
Just get that training done. Learn well.
No, seriously though, that is very kind. And I think we are very, very lucky, and I feel very grateful to just have amazing people in the team at My Budget who genuinely want to come to work every day and make a difference. And it's not something, I think when people hear me say that about my team or the staff, I call them the My Budget family, They're like, oh, yeah, right.
No,
and then they
No.
come and they see for themselves, or they join the business and they say, I can't believe this is true. There's something in the water. It's almost like a cult.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful to have people who actually care about each other and care about our clients and want to make a change in this community and in this country and make people's lives better. Yeah. And I think we should all feel very privileged, I think, to do that. I feel very privileged to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
And not just be doing a job where I sell people something they don't really need or they don't really want. We're actually out there fighting the fight and helping people. Yeah. And it's because of people like you, Kylie.
Thank you.
And both of you and Scott, it's because of you made the phone. Like
you made the call.
Yeah. You made the call
and
said, I want to do this and I want to change my own life.
Yeah.
And all we did is help facilitate that. And you guys did a lot. Yeah. And you should both be very, very proud of where you've been and where you've come and all the challenges that you've had along the way, because, you know, it's difficult.
Even though we've had the challenges, just quickly, what have we done? We've had how many trips to Perth? We've lost count. We're travelling to Perth yearly. We've been on a cruise and we've bought a house.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Yeah.
All of these things that you've achieved. And what's next? Like, do you have goals set?
I think our next would be doing the yard up. Actually,
doing
the yard of the house,
a bit of landscaping.
Yep,
massive change overhaul of the yard.
It's a blank canvas at the moment.
And private school, and all those things, you know, which is really fantastic.
And we're talking about retirement now.
Yeah, wow.
So seriously, talking about that. No, seriously, it's really important. People in our age group need to look at retirement.
Yes.
In your 50s, you need to look at your super. You need to make sure that's happening in the budget. Sorry.
Yep. You do.
I want to have money to retire.
Yep, you do. Now, we always ask our podcast guests these same questions because there's always a theme of being grateful through the podcast series so far. And I just want to ask you both, what in your life are you most grateful for?
I am grateful for this dude here.
Honestly. The top dad. I'm
not an easy person. I'm very strong-willed. And I think he just literally loves me in a unique way. And he just calms me. And I think that is the most important thing I can have, is to have my partner in crime. See, we're oldies, mate. We're going to be those old people pushing. He's going to be the one who's going to be colouring my roots when I'm older.
No, I've already been there, done that, not doing it again.
Been there, got the T-shirt. And what about you, Scott?
I guess I'm thankful for or grateful for quite a few things. One is the support of a loving family. Thankful for MyBudget.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Getting us out of the manure and just giving us something to look forward to. Like it's not just a matter of getting out of debt and paying off your bills and having someone do that for you. It's a matter of having someone kind of go, okay, well, where do you want to be in 12 months' time? Where do you see your finances in 12 months' time?
And we still do it, don't we?
And creating that savings.
Yeah.
Which
is awesome. And do you use the app or do you look?
I do not. I am completely blind.
So Kylie just says, what do you want to do?
She goes crook at me.
He rings me up. Hey, babe, can you do a transfer? You just called me.
On my mobile.
So it's just like...
But no, I just kind of get up and go to work and let Kylie take care of everything.
Yeah, which is great.
And she goes crook at me.
And that works.
And it's to me,
right and wrong.
To her, it's I should be more on top of it. But to me, it's the fact that I trust her to run the budget and make it work. Yeah.
And that's what a great partnership's all about.
And the thing is, I don't look at our budget as our budget. I look at it coming in as an aspect as this is a client's budget.
Yeah.
So I'm not have that temptations.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to do the right thing by the client.
Yeah.
And I am the client.
Yeah.
and I make it work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just
So if you had a billboard, what is the message you would want to put out to the world?
Give my budget a call. You've got nothing to lose.
I love it. Thanks for that.
I like mine's better, and I use this quote a lot to clients. And mine is, I might have a membership with my budget, and clearly tell her I don't have a gym membership.
Oh, wow.
So
Great,
any
guys.
clients who I do say that to, if you see me, clearly I don't.
I think you look fabulous.
Oh, thanks. Simon.
You look fabulous, and you've got a great
Thank you.
energy, a great relationships, a beautiful family. Abby sounds like an absolute firecracker.
Oh, yeah, she is.
And thank you so much for agreeing to be part of the podcast series. It's
okay.
really important to get these stories out there so more people feel like it's not just me, or they can relate to your story and feel inspired by your story. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me today on
Thank
the
you for
podcast.
asking us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. To hear more about our stories and budgeting tips, head to mybudget.com.au to check out our resources there. We've got free budget plans that you can download. And if you're interested in taking that next step so you can start living your life free from money worries, just give us a call and book in your free appointment. It won't cost you anything but your time. My Budget Australian Financial Services Licence and Australian Credit Licence number 391759.